This is Garis, Masculist, MGTOW flyers, that is 2 3-page essays on the themes of masculism and MGTOW, written by and read aloud by Prof. Dr. Hugo de Garis. This is flyer number 735, part 2, entitled Women Oppress Men Far Worse. Carrying straight on. Imagine a scene in which some feminist is giving a talk to a university audience, trashing men, feeling that she has every right to do so, since she is well aware, after years of reading feminist books, in brackets, that, by the way, teach women nothing, in capital letters, about how women oppress men, close brackets, that men oppress women badly. A masculist in her audience stands up and says to her, quote, "I see you have a ring on your finger, which I assume means that you have some man in your life. So what are you going to do if your man becomes biconscious before you do? That is, he learns how much worse women oppress men, with women's manslavery, women's divorce rape, women's forced fathering, so that he sees you with your current monoconsciousness, that is, the only gender politics you have ever heard of is feminist. You know nothing of masculist ideas, so that he becomes disgusted with your hypocrisy, your public trashing of men, when in fact women oppress men far worse, so that he then dumps you. You women have had a monopoly over gender politics for 6 decades, since the rise of the second feminist wave. So you've been utterly brainwashed that gender oppression is a one-way street, but it's not. It's very much a two-way street, with women oppressing men far worse. For example, the big 3 I just mentioned. If you want to keep the man in your life, I suggest strongly to you that you learn masculist ideas, in capital letters, faster than he does, or you're going to risk being dumped by him once he gets exposed to masculist ideas and sees your monoconscious feminism as hypocrisy. Pretty soon, in a few years, nearly all the men that you come across will have been infected by the masculist virus. They will have been masculisted, who will not tolerate your feminist monoconsciousness and will bite your fucking head off until millions of monoconscious feminists have been dumped, who then realize that the only way that they can get a man is to become female masculists. Otherwise, they will rot on the shelf, made manless. Rot on the shelf, hated, ignored totally, not even pumped and dubbed, made manless, loveless, sexless, babyless, and spat at, utterly rejected both socially and sexually." End quote. Millions of intelligent men need to become familiar with such masculist arguments so that they can hurl them at feminazis, making these feminazis painfully aware that they no longer have a monopoly over gender politics. And if they don't quickly learn some masculism, their lives will be made miserable by men who, nearly all in a few years, will be familiar with masculist ideas, who will not tolerate her monoconsciousness and will bite her fucking head off with a vicious, hateful, masculist harangue, blowing her out of the room. Men need to become informed of the most powerful masculist ideas so that they can use them against feminist, monoconscious, gender political ignorance, forcing these feminists to become biconscious or to rot on the shelf. Once there are millions of masculists, women can be made biconscious, so that then the masses can move on into the political phase of their liberation movement, setting up GECs, GECs, gender equality committees, in the parliaments that consist half of female feminists and half of male masculists, so that the gender issues of both sexes can be dealt with equally, which is not the case today, with the feminist monopoly over gender politics. The male half of these GECs will then push for the fipping of women, for the biconsciousing of society, for the reform of the divorce courts, basing them on the principle of financial independence of mothers, so that women can be FIPs for most of their lives. The GEX will also legislate the paternity rejection right, so that men get the same right to reject an unwanted pregnancy that women already have. The fact that women have the MARA, aka abortion right, but men don't have the PARA, is the, capital letters, most blatant form of sexual discrimination that exists. The GEX will also legislate the OPTAB, OPTAB, obligatory paternity testing at birth, for all births, to block women's horrible gender crime of paternity fraud. The OPTAB will allow a paternity frauded man to opt for the PARA, so that if the woman goes ahead with the pregnancy, then she gets full financial responsibility for the costs of the kid. If she's a FIP, she can afford it. You can now probably see why masculists place such heavy emphasis on the creation of a FIP society, in which girls are pushed to be FIPs, so that men are freed from manslavery, freed from divorce rape by fluffy divorcing mothers, freed from forced fathering, all of which are horrible, decades-lasting gender crimes that make masculists hate gender criminal women, whom we masculists are at war against, whom we aim to exterminate by totally ignoring them, forcing them to rot on the shelf. A huge gender political revolution is about to take place as men rise up, intellectually armed with masculist ideas, who no longer tolerate the hypocrisy of monoconscious feminists, and then destroy them, as well as fluffies, using the same tactics, that is, total avoidance of such women, not even pumping and dumping them. Cheers. Prof. Dr. Hugo de Garis. Email profhugodegaris@yahoo.com. Website profhugodegaris.wordpress.com. Click on the Masculist tab for 730 plus Masculist essays and their videos. Google the terms London Real and Hugo de Garis to see videos on masculism at AI will kill 1 billion people dash. Do we create our exterminators? Question mark. Professor Hugo de Garis dash London Real in brackets. See the last half hour of this 2-hour interview for the Masculist segment, as well as Countdown to Extinction, How AI Will Exterminate Mankind, again for the last 40 minutes on masculism. These flyers are available in text and video formats on Minds, BitChute, Odyssey, MGTOW.tv, X, and YouTube. I have nearly 1,000 masculist videos in 15 playlists on YouTube that can be accessed by searching for the channel name, De Garis Masculist Videos, that's all one word. All 1,000 of my masculist videos in one long list in most recent first time order, close brackets, can also be found on X by searching the channel name De Garis Masculist Videos. That's 4 words. Ciao.